jangan ketuk dulu.
Testing. Masih kelihatan nggak?
Grup 3.
Grup 3. Let's go,
Mantap.
grup 3. Let's
Aduh.
go.
Sebentar.
Grup 3 udah ada semua.
Udah ada semua.
Share screen aku udah ada.
Udah ada. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Today, we from group 3, we want to present about making a good test. So, the first is we say basmalah first. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Next, to the member. So, first is me, Amir. Second is Hani, and the last is Nesya. Okay, next slide. Lah. Okay, first we move to the definition. The definition will be present by myself, Amir. So definition is making a good test means designing an assessment that accurately measures students through language ability and supports learning rather than merely assigning scores. According to Hughes, 1989, a good language test should fulfill 5 essential principles: validity, reliability, practicality, authenticity, and the last is washback. So these principles ensure that the test is fair, meaningful, and aligned with instructional goals. Similarly, according to Brown, 20 and 4, emphasize that a good assessment balance practically reliability, validity, authenticity, and positive feedback, making it both educationally valuable and ethically responsible. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, next slide will be present by the next material. Siapa ini teh?
Nesia.
Oh, okay,
Aku.
Nesia. Time and place is yours.
Okay, thank you, Amir. So now I will explain about principle of a good language test. A good language test should measure based on the PPT. Yeah, a good language test should measure what student can actually do in English, and then in language teaching, testing is not just about giving grades, but about measuring how well student can actually use English in the presentation, and then in principle of a good language test, there are several key principles. The first is validity, the second is reliability, and the third is practicality and authenticity and washback. So the next slide. So the first is validity. Validity means the test measure what it is supposed to measure.
Present dalam konsisten that student will expect semester the teacher.
And then
Ini
also
di-mute dulu,
Huge
tolong.
19 and 89 says that validity is the degree to which a test measure what it claims to measure. For example, if a teacher want to assess speaking skills, the test should include a real speaking task like conversation or role plays, and not just a grammar question. And then Brown 24 adds that validity ensure the test results are meaningful and useful. In short, a valid test match the learning objective and shows a student actual ability. Okay, the next slide. The next is reliability. Reliability is about consistency in the test result. A reliable test will give similar result if student take it against under the same condition. And then Brown 2004 describes that a reliable test as consistent and dependable. For example, if the instructions are clear and the scoring rubrics are well prepared, student scores will be more consistent. To make a test reliable, teachers should avoid confusing questions and then give a clear direction and use fair scoring rubrics, especially for speaking or writing tests. The next slide. And then next slide is practicality. Practicality means that the test can be given easily and efficiently in real situation. Huge 19 and 89 says that a practical test should not take too much time or research, and then Brown and 24 also explained that practically deals with time, cost, and effort. For example, if we have a big class, it might not be practical to give a long speaking test for every student, so teacher need to balance quality and classroom condition. A good test should be effective but also realistic for teacher and student. Next. And the last is authenticity and washback. Authenticity means the test reflect a real life language use. And then Hughes in 1989 also says that authentic text show the kind of communication students actually need in real life. For example, writing an email or giving direction is more authentic than just answering grammar question like that. And then Rowan 24 also mentioned that authenticity is about how similar the task is to real life communication. And then the second is washback, uh, refer to refers to the effect uh, of testing on teaching and learning. According to Hughes, tests can have positive or negative effect. When a test motivates students to learn and help teacher improve their teaching, it creates positive washback. But if it not make student memorize, the washback is negative. So, teacher should design tests that encourage meaningful learning. I think that's all for the material, and I will give it back to Amir.
Okay, the next material is honey, right?
Okay, thank you, Amir, for the opportunity. Next is I will explain about step to creating a good test. In this step, ensure that the exam truly reflects student abilities and support fair and accurate assessment. And there are several points. First is choose appropriate the topic or the material. According to Eno et al. In 2021, the first step in creating a good test is to choose the right topic or material to be tested. Teachers must choose topics that are relevant to the learning objectives and have been taught in class. And the material must really represent the learning content that students are expected to master. If teachers test material that has not been taught, the test result will not accurately reflect student understanding or achievement because they themselves do not understand the material in the test. And the second point is determine material part and format. According to Eno et al. In 2021, is to determine the material and test and format to be used. Teachers must decide whether the test will be multiple choice, essay, true or false, fill in the blank, or even a practical test. The test format must be appropriate for the skill or competencies being measured. For example, if teachers want to measure critical thinking or explanatory skills, essay questions are more suitable. However, if the goal is only the test factual knowledge, maybe multiple choice questions are more effective. And then the third point is make the question that is or blueprint. Okay, according to Bueno et al. In 2021, teachers must create a test blueprint such as a plan or map for the test. And this blueprint serves a guide that explain the topics, indicator, and types of question that will be included in the class. And the blueprint ensure that all material is fairly represented in that the test covers each learning objective in a balanced manner. In addition, the blueprint help teachers compile questions systematically and avoid imbalance between the topic. And the fourth material is write the problem. According to Reno et al. In 2021, after the grade is completed, the teachers must write the question based on the indicators in it. For multiple choice question, the answer option must be similar, logical, and then have only one correct answer, and the distractor or incorrect answer must still be related to the topic, not unreasonable choices. For essay, maybe for essay question, teachers must write clearly and use simple words so as not to cause confusion or misinterpretation. Each question must reflect the learning objective and encourage students to think critically, not just memorize. And the next point is create answer key or scoring guidelines. Now, according to Reno et al. In 2021, after writing the question, teachers must create answer key for objective tests and scoring rubrics for essay tests. Now, this answer key ensure fairness and objectivity in assessment. For multiple choice, question, answer keys can help avoid bias. And for essay question, scoring rubrics help to provide clear criteria so that every student is assessed in the same way. And the next point is review and evaluate the test. So before we giving the test to student, teachers need to check whether it meets the standard of a good test as described by Bueno et al. In 2021. So a good test must have high validity and reliability. That meaning that it must accurately measure what it is supposed to measure and provide consistent result. And the test must also be objective, practical, and economical. Now, so each question must have an appropriate level of difficulty so that it is neither too easy or too difficult. It must also be a good differentiator to distinguish between high and low ability student. And the last is use clear and proper language. Nah, this is one important aspect of creating a good question is to use clear and proper language. Because teachers should use clear and simple language appropriate to the student level of understanding. Avoid difficult terms or sentences that could cause confusion. For maybe for essay question, it is recommended to use words such as why, explain, or describe, which encourage student to provide descriptive and analytical answer. If the question use visual elements such as use table, diagram, or image, they must be clear and fully support the meaning of the question. Okay, maybe that's all I can explain about step to creating a good test. I will give it back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you to Hani and Nesya to give the material. And can you next slide? And the last is conclusion. So in conclusion, making a good test is a careful and systematic process that combines both technical quality and pedagogical purpose. A test must not only be valid, reliable, practical, authentic, and have positive prospect, according to Hughes, 1989, and Brown, 2004. And according to Bueno et al., the good test must also be thoughtfully planned and written following structured procedures. And when teachers design tests based on these principles, the assessment become more than tools for grading. They become instruments that enhance learning, reflect students' real abilities, and support effective teaching practices. Therefore, the making of a good test is about a scientific and educational act, ensuring that assessment truly contributes to the improvement of language education. Okay, maybe that's all from me for the material of the conclusion. And next to the class is the question and answer. So, apakah di sini ada yang ingin bertanya?
Aku.
Ya, so silakan.
Okay, my
berapa
name is
pertanyaan? Atau berapa pertanyaan?
3 saja.
3. Oke. Silakan.
Okay, my name is Indira, and my question is, so you mentioned before about washback can be negative. Can you explain more how negative washback might appear in a classroom situation? Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Indira for asking. So next, siapa lagi?
Akbar Mir.
Oh, silakan.
So, Nesha, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Akbar.
Waalaikumsalam.
And then I want to ask you guys a question based on your presentation. It's about washback also. Can you explain how positive washback can influence students' learning attitudes and also teachers' teaching strategies? You get it, Amir?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, but I'm lagging before. So, okay, thank you Akbar for asking the questions. Okay, next, the last question.
Aku Mir.
Oh, silakan.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sandi Alwati. So, about apa ya? Available gitulah.
Okay. We will move to the next question. Okay, the last question is Dendi. Okay, Dendi.
Okay, so my name is Sandi Albarki. So the question is, how can a test be valid but not reliable? You can explain it with. You can answer with example. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, maybe let's just to answer the question later after the two presentation is finished. Okay, I will spin for the next presentation. Group 1.
Oke, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, so we are from group 1 and include me, Triputri Nandini as a moderator for today, and then my group member Adika and also Namina. So we will present about the material making a good test. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so the definition of a good test according to Huygens, 1980, a good test must actually measure what is supposed to measure or valid, consistent, or reliable, and then be able to be implemented efficiency or practical and have a positive influence on learning back. Next slide, please. Okay, so why do we need a good test? So, according to Hugas, 1989, emphasized the necessity of high-quality testing in language education. And also, there are two purposes of why do we need a good test. The first one is tests are vital tools for measuring achievement and learning proficiency. And also, the second purpose is crucial decisions. Example like graduation, placement are often based on test results. Okay, next. Okay, so the next material will be explained by Gruber.
Sebentar. Okay. The first one, sorry. The first one is validity. Validity is the degree to which a test truly represents the construct or competency it is intended to measure, by Brown, 1996. And types of validity. The first one is content validity, the extent to which the test reflects a representative sample of the curriculum or material taught. Example, an achievement test should cover all relevant topics. Number two is construct validity. So the extent to which the test measures the theoretical construct. Crucial, always clearly define the ability being tested. The number three is criterion related validity. The first one is predictive validity or predicting future performance, and the second is concurrent validity or comparing result to an stabilized test or criterion. Next is reliability. Reliability. Reliability refers to degree of consistency of test result, whether the test can be trusted or provide stable and unchanging result. Next slide, please. So factors affecting reliability. First is test length. Test length is longer of the test, or assuming quality items tend to be more reliable. And the second is item quality. Is ambiguous interaction or items reduce reliability. Number 3 is scoring objectivity. Subjective tests require clear scoring criteria to maintain reliability. And the last is test condition. Is physical and mental state of the test takers and the testing environment. So the way to increase reliability, first standardized testing and scoring procedure. Number 2 is train raters and use multiple raters. And avoid ambiguity in test item and instruction. Next slide is practically. The definition of practicality refers to the administrative consideration involved in making, giving, and scoring a test. So the aspect of practicality is the first one is cost. Is the test too expensive to develop or implement? Next is time. Time needed for creation, administration, and marking. Number 3 is ease of administration. Is the test easy to run or clear procedures, minimal equipment? And the last is scorability. Is the test quick and easy to score? Next slide. Okay, next slide will be presented by Kayla.
Okay, thank you. Now I will explain about additional principle, Weschbeck. According Hughes, 1989, Weschbeck is the effect that tests have on the teaching and learning process, both positive and negative. So, Weschbeck also sometimes called backwash. That is the phenomenon where the nature of an examination or test dictates the content and methodology of teaching and learning that precedes it. So essentially, the tail or the test wags the dog or the curriculum and instruction. We can understand from that phrase, and there are the mechanism. The first one is teachers' focus. Teachers, especially those whose students' performance reflects on their efficacy, often align their instruction with the test content to maximize student success. The second is students' motivation. Students focus their effort and study time on what they know will be tested, sometimes neglecting skills or content areas not included in the assessment. And then the last is curriculum interpretation. Takes tests, particularly national or standardized exams, effectively become de facto curriculum, even if official documents suggest a broader scope. So there are two types of Weschbeck. The first one is positive Weschbeck, and the second is negative Weschbeck. The positive one occurs when the test encourage good teaching or learning. It happens when the test design models best practice and motivates teachers and students to engage in constructive learning activities. For the example, a comprehensive English proficiency exam includes graded speaking sections or interview and writing sections or essay. The Wishback effect is teachers spend class time on interactive dialogues, debates, and extensive writing practice instead of just multiple choice grammar quizzes because they will face the speaking section and writing section. The test is promoting the development of real-world communicative competence. So the second one is negative pushback. It occurs when the test leads to narrow teaching, focusing only on easily tested content. Is the harmful effect where the pressure to perform well on a test leads to narrow and ineffective or rote teaching and learning. The example is standardized math tests relies heavily on procedural calculations and multiple choice questions, focusing on discrete facts. The effect is teachers ignore problem solving and conceptual understanding, focusing instead on repetitive drills and test taking strategies. And it can lead to teaching to the test, only test where students can pass the exam, but the teachers don't really know or care about the deep understanding of the students or the ability to apply their knowledge in their life. So the test measures what is the easiest to test, causing the curriculum to shrink and focus only on those daily quantifiable elements. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, the conclusion is the ideal test is one that is technically sound, valid, and reliable, logistically efficient, practical, and pedagogically constructive. Positive feedback, and test developers must constantly evaluate and balance these criteria to ensure the test is both an accurate measurement tool and a valuable aid to improving instructions. Okay, next I will give it back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Alright, everyone. So today we're gonna Q&A session. If you have any question, you can raise your hand or also open your mic. Any question?
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
So, okay, my question is about the validity. How does the concept of validity ensure that a language test truly reflect real world communication skills? Dah.
Okay, thank you. Any other question from others? Okay, maybe only Amir who asked to group 1. I think we will think about the answer first.
Maybe to answer the question, you can start from group 3.
Okay. I will answer then this question. With the question is how can a test be valid but not reliable? Explain with example. So, a test can be valid but not reliable when it really measures what it should measure, but the results are not the same every time. For example, like let's say teachers give a speaking test to check student English speaking ability, and uh, the question in the test are so good and really test how well student can speak. And that we could say that the test is valid, but the teachers give different scores every time. So sometimes teachers give score too high, or sometimes the teachers give score to the students is too low. Nah, even the same performance. So we can say that not reliable. Nah, so the test is valid because it tests speaking ability but doesn't give consistent result. Kayak let me say in bahasa, jadi kayak uh, unreliable. Nah, because the scoring depends on the teacher mood or judgment gitu. Are you satisfied, Dendi?
Okay, enough, Annie. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
now I
Anissa,
will
Anissa, Anissa.
answer. In the last question, yeah. The question is, you mentioned flashback and can be negative, and then can you explain more how negative flashback might appear in a classroom situation? So, as we know that negative flashback happen when a test gives us a bad influence on how a student learn or how teacher teach. For example, if a teacher only focus on preparing student to pass a grammar test, then student may end up just memorizing rules, and then instead of actually learning how to use English in real communication in real life, it can also make the classroom less creative, and then because both teacher and student become more focused on test scores rather than improve real language skills. And then Hughes also point out that poorly designed tests can encourage bad teaching practice, which is another form of negative flashback. So basically, negative flashback mean the test makes learning less meaningful, and then students learn just for the exam, not for real life English use. I think, and that's how negative flashback might appear in a classroom situation, just like what you asked. I think that's all. Indira, are you satisfied?
Yes, enough. Thank you.
Okay, for the last question is from Akbar. Akbar, are you here, Akbar?
Yo,
Nah, madam. Okay, Akbar, the question is explain how positive feedback can influence students' learning attitudes and teachers' teaching strategy. So the is feedback can influence students' learning attitudes, them to engage more actively in learning. When tests reflect real-life language use and measure meaningful skills, students become more motivated to learn because they see the value of they are studying. for teachers was back in the strategies, community activity, and based learning. So maybe
I'm sorry, Amir, I can hear you because your voice is so look like a robot, you know.
I will is was back.
Maybe you can
Back can influence students to engage more actively in learning. As reflected language and measure meaningful skills. Students become more motivated to learn those
Amir,
yeah.
maybe you can ask your friend to answer my question, Amir, because your voice is lep, you know.
maybe you can apa ya, kayak move to another place to make your
Okay.
connection is
Wait.
good.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
Still bad, I mean.
You hear me?
Nah, better.
Ini suaranya ada enggak? Nah.
Ada.
Oke, ada. Okay, the question from Akbar, explain how positive feedback can influence students' learning attitudes and teachers' teaching strategies. So the answer is positive feedback can influence students' learning attitudes by encouraging them to engage more actively in learning. When tests reflect real-life language use and measure meaningful skills, students become more motivated to learn because they see the value of what they are studying. For teachers, positive feedback encourage the use of effective teaching strategies, such as communicative activity, authentic assessment, and task-based learning, so that align classroom instruction with the skills being tested. This creates a productive cycle where testing and teaching support each other. Okay, Akbar, are you satisfied?
Okay, Amir. Thank you, Amir.
Ini ada answer. Okay. I'm sorry guys for my voice problem.
Okay, next aja. Group 1, ready to answer the question?
Okay. That the concept of validity ensure that language tests truly reflect real-world communication here. So validity ensures that a language test actually measures what is intended to measure, in this case, real-world communication skill rather than something else. Here's how validity contributes to this goal. First is content validity. The test task should reflect real communicative solution. For example, instead of only testing grammar rules, a valid test might include role plays, email writing, or listening tasks similar to what learners face in real life. Next, construct validity. The test must truly measure the construct of communicative competence, including linguistic, sociolinguistic, and pragmatic aspects. This ensures that performance reflects actual ability to use language meaningfully and appropriately. The third is criterion-related validity. The test results should correlate with learners' performance in real-world communication. For instance, a high score should indicate that the person can communicate effectively outside the test context. And the last is face validity. The test should appear realistic and relevant to both teachers and learners, increasing engagement and authenticity. So, in short, validity ensures that the task, content, and scoring all align with the communicative skills needed in real-world context, making the assessment a true reflection of language use beyond the classroom. Uh, so, Amir, is that enough?
Okay, that's enough. Thank you, Dikta, for answering my question. Ini ada nggak suaranya?
Okay, guys, there are addition for the material.
Enough.
I think it's enough.
It's enough.
Yes.
Okay, maybe to end today's meeting, let's say hamdalah together.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Okay, guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Terima kasih teman-teman.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.